Frontier College is Canada's national leader in the field of literacy and numeracy, with a rich and storied history dating back to their beginning in 1899. In its earliest form, English instructors trained in teaching reading and writing skills were sent to lumber camps, railway work sites, and to mining companies to educate workers of both Canadian and migrant descent. Later, these trained teachers brought education to children in remote northern communities and further on to learners in densely populated urban areas. And in 2017, the college was honored to receive the Canadian Teachers Federation, a public education advocacy award for its long-standing contribution to public education in our country. Today, Frontier's role includes a number of teaching literacy opportunities for youth within the GTA, including homework clubs at various schools and resource centers. Their Beat the Street literacy program offers youth who face numerous barriers, including low self-esteem and negative associations with traditional school environments, and who have now completed their high school, a way back into the education system through education opportunities that are really more short-term and concentrated. Frontier College programs are free and open to everyone and are widely regarded as best in class, examples of student-centered, individualized learning. So now I'd like to introduce Maureen Anglin and Tammy Orifa, representing Frontier College. Maureen is Regional Manager for Southern Ontario, and Tammy is Toronto Regional Manager. Maureen has a master's in adult education from the University of Toronto and has worked for Frontier College for the past 18 years. And during this time, she has coordinated programs and managed a regional team and led national program evaluation initiatives. Since 2005, she has collaborated with the Ontario Ministry of Education to ensure that Frontier College programs complement the formal education system. And our second speaker, Tammy Orifa, is currently the chair of Frontier College's Internal Skills Development Committee, which focuses on cross-program and peer training throughout all regions in Canada. Tammy joined Frontier in 2014 and leads her Toronto Adult English Speaking programs. Her portfolio consists of 4 core programs, 3 of which are literacy and basic skill programs funded through the Ministry of Labor Training and Skills Development. And the 4th program she supports is a long-standing partnership with a construction trades organization called Central Ontario Building Trades. Through this partnership, Frontier College provides high school credit academic tutoring to young adults who reside in under-resourced communities within Toronto. Tammy is also the chair of Frontier College's Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee. So now I'll pass this presentation over to Maureen and Tammy and ask them to share their screens. Thank you.
Thank you, Lionel. That was quite an introduction. I don't think there's anything for Maureen and I to say. We might as well leave. You've done it for us. I'm going to share my screen, so just a moment. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
There's, I think, a bit of a delay, so I'm waiting for it to pop up fully. And so, Maureen, perhaps you can add anything else that you'd like to add beyond what Lionel shared about us, and then I can introduce myself a bit more and then go into the presentation.
Sure, thank you, Tammy. Yes, thank you very much for the excellent introduction, Lionel. You certainly did your research on Frontier College and on us. For today, we're hoping to present what we do in Toronto. We'll talk a little bit about how literacy and numeracy programming is more important actually to the people we serve in the time of COVID, and also the impact of our programs.
Thank you. And this is, I think, a really informal group and presentation. So as we're going through our slides, if you have questions, please, say them out loud. I'm not able to see everyone, so if you raise your hand, I may see you, but if not, if someone can let me know that somebody has their hand up, that would be wonderful. So Lionel, you've already shared some of this information with the group, but once again, we are a national literacy organization and we offer programming from coast to coast to coast. I think we're in every province and territory except, I think Labrador is the one place that we're not in, but we're working on that. And we're quite volunteer driven in terms of the ways in which we do our work. We have several thousand volunteers that we work with on an annual basis. And in our last annual report, we had worked with almost 90,000 individuals across the country. What makes us special, our secret sauce, so to speak, is that we meet people where they are, whether it be with their learning needs and abilities or where they are physically. And so unlike many organizations who require people to come to their space to receive services and support, we actually go into the community. And so our work is quite vast and spread across the country. We work in varied environments. We work in justice institutions. We work in shelters. We work in schools. We work in community centers. We do work in the community. So we've been at community festivals where we offer reading tents and reading activities. We do have some physical frontier sites. I have some of those within my portfolio where people come to us, but for the most part, we go out into the community and partner with the service providers. We help them to build their capacity and also provide services in a meaningful way. We vet our volunteers, and so we want to ensure that the services that people are receiving are top-notch. And so we screen, we vet, and we offer training to all of our volunteers to ensure that they understand the nature of the learning and the learning needs of the population that we're matching them with, and that they are supported through our program staff who oversee the logistics of the programs. As Lionel mentioned, we are a long-standing organization. We are the oldest national organization, literacy organization in Canada, and we do have quite a few heritage videos out there and a lovely heritage site. If you are ever wanting to explore a beautiful building, come to Yonge and St. Clair. Our office is the Laidlaw family's old home, old mansion that's been converted into office space. So definitely encourage you to check it out if you're ever wanting to, check out a new space. What I have in front of me, in front of you, is a snapshot of our programs across the country. This image was created, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago, so it's outdated, and we have a few new sites that have been added since then, but this gives you a visual of the reach that we offer as a national organization, although today we'll be focusing primarily on our Toronto programs. There is often a misconception that literacy is simply the ability to read and write, and we want to debunk that. Literacy is much more than the simple ability to read and write. I'm going to read the sentence that's on the screen. It's the ability to understand the printed word and put it to use, and to engage fully in activities and opportunities at home, at work, and in the community. It's really about succeeding in today's world. So in a nutshell, it's the ability to take in information and apply it within the right context. And so you may be able to read the word, but if you don't understand what it means in the context that you're reading it in or in a related context, then your literacy skills aren't where they need to be. And what we do at Frontier College is to help individuals to really strengthen their literacy skills beyond just being able to move through rote actions of knowledge intake. I'll also add that although we're speaking primarily about reading and writing in today's presentation, the definition of literacy is much broader than reading and writing. It also includes numeracy and digital technology skills. And as you can imagine, with the onset of the pandemic, digital skills is certainly something that many people are wanting to develop further. And there has been a divide in some cases, in some communities where they lack the infrastructure or the resources to move online and to manage personal activities related to health and otherwise because of that digital divide that's been created by the pandemic. Where this sort of translates into numbers is that on average, there is a statistics say that 1 in 5 Canadians struggle with low literacy skills or low levels of literacy. Literacy is measured on a scale of 1 to 5. And without getting too technical, if you're a 4 or 5, you're good. You're able to self-direct, manage your learning, you're able to take in complex information, apply it, synthesize it in the context that you're receiving it in, but also connect it to different or similar environments or experiences. If you're on the lower end, you're pre-level 1 or even level 1 to level 2, you're likely going to struggle and are in this category of the 1 to 5 Canadians. Those individuals who are level 1 and 2, or even pre-level 1, are individuals who may be able to identify some words by sight. They may have the ability to make some low-level inferences in terms of math calculations. They may be able to make some simple connections between text and what's in front of them, but they will not likely be able to make any complicated or critical application with what they received. What we hope to do through the work at Frontier College, and the general aim, is to get people to at least a level 3, which allows them to be able to self-direct, to be able to understand information, to be able to guide their learning, seek information independently, and apply it for the betterment of their personal lives, their work lives, their community, those types of aspects. And so that's really the focus of how we do our work at Frontier College. And Maureen will speak a bit more about the specifics of how our efforts unfold within our programming. There are several factors that contribute to low literacy. Some of them include lack of access to resources. This could be not having any books at home. It could be not having a quiet space at home to study and to read. It could be that maybe you don't have a home that is comfortable and allows you to have your basic needs met. It could be that you lack support from family and friends. As we know, not all schools are created equal, and not all schools are resourced equally. And so you may have a child who's attending school, but the limited resources, whether it be human resources or physical resources, may create some inequities in terms of access to learning and the ways in which somebody may progress within their education. Learning challenges or learning disabilities, interruptions sorry, I'm skipping ahead, health difficulties, teaching styles and how people learn, and also interruptions in education are also factors that contribute to low levels of literacy. So I'm sure you can all read, so I'm not going to read through all of these with you, but what I will say is that it's not always obvious why that somebody has low literacy skills. There are individuals, children, and adults who found different coping mechanisms to obscure the fact that they are struggling. And so we have to be mindful of paying attention to those things. With our adult learners, and that's the populations that I primarily work with, we look at things like their inability or discomfort in perhaps completing applications and forms. That can sometimes be an indicator of somebody with low literacy. They may prefer that you do it for them, and they may say, I'm tired, and you might think, okay, well, I'll read it on their behalf, but it could be an indicator of low literacy. So we want to be mindful of not using a paintbrush to say there's a sort of a monolith of definitions around who has low literacy and who doesn't, but really trying to individualize how we support individuals and making it meaningful so that they can actually progress and be independent long-term. Maureen is going to take it from here in terms of speaking a bit more about why literacy matters.
Thanks a lot, Tammy. That was a really great overview. So I want to talk a little bit about what impact literacy can have on people if they don't have the skills that they need to be successful in today's society. And as Tammy mentioned, that this is typically about the level 3 of the 0 to 5 scale. So over the last over 5 years, Frontier College has done a lot of research on how literacy impacts different aspects of our lives. And each year we write a discussion paper and hold a forum on a key topic. And what we found through this research and these forums is that literacy is low literacy skills can be very closely linked to higher levels of unemployment, also higher risk of unemployment, to lower skills relate to poverty, as well as adverse health outcomes. That literacy has a direct impact on one's health, whether it's physical or mental health. We also found that literacy is connected to more civic participation. So this might be volunteering, being involved in your community, being involved with elections, that sort of thing. And as well, it leads to less recidivism in the criminal justice system. So, especially there's been quite a bit of research that literacy, including digital literacy, has become even more important over the last year and a half with the pandemic, as more services are moving online. So it's increasingly important at all ages, like even young students, that they can access online education and that sort of thing, all the way up to seniors. Yeah, so Tam, if you can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so in terms of how Frontenac College has approached this since 1899, is we've always had the philosophy of, we call it student-centered individualized learning. We've had the approach that all are welcome, and that everyone has a right to learn and to learn at their own pace and learn in a way that will build on their own strengths. As Tammy mentioned, we go where people are. So when she showed the map, you may have seen that not only in urban centers, we're in a lot of remote flying communities, for example. So we really are committed to going where people are rather than expecting them to come to us. Now, and in fact, with the online methods that we're using since March 2020, we've been able to reach people in more rural areas as well. That every place is a learning place. You know, it might be a school, it might be a shelter, it might be a community center. With online learning, it might be a home, a library. So yeah, every place really is a learning place. And what we tell our tutors is that it's a partnership where the learner and tutor are learning from each other. There's mutual respect. It's about building on the learner's strengths, building on their interests, not looking at their weaknesses or their challenges. And yeah, I mean, we've been around a long time, so we've realized this method works. And through our research, we've seen that, you know, children, youth, and adults do realize their strengths, they gain skills, and they do become more confident, and they become then better, healthier, better able to participate in society, achieve their goals. It really has a huge impact over the long term. Next slide, please, Tammy. Yeah, so in terms of what we do in Toronto is we run what we call homework clubs. So this might be where a student in, let's say, grade 4 to 8 comes with their homework, or maybe wants to build skills in a certain area, that sort of thing. It's very much, as I mentioned, very student-centered. Reading circles tend to be for younger children, and it's about building a love of reading. One-to-one and small group tutoring, so they can take a variety of have a variety of focuses. So it might be on reading, it might be on math, it might be developing writing skills, it might be high school students preparing for graduation, what they're going to do. And then lastly, our reading tents. So the picture on the right is from a reading tent we ran this summer in North York. And this, again, similar to reading circles, is about building a love of reading. What we do is we go to day camps that are in the communities we serve. And so we'll run like a program each week over 4 weeks. And that way it reduces what we call summer learning loss, which all children may experience, and even more so when children aren't exposed to learning activities during the summer. So we try to mitigate that. So one example of our Toronto partnership is with the Regent Park Community Health Center. We partnered with them since 1997, so very much a long-standing partner. So we actually serve children, youth, and adults. So for the younger children, we run a Saturday reading circle where they'll get together. Right now it's online, and they'll read books, do different literacy activities, that sort of thing. For the grade 4 to 8 students, we run a homework club, and that is very important to people from this community who are mostly newcomers, and maybe that the students need a little bit extra support, or they want to learn more about a specific subject. And then lastly, we'd run a one-to-one adult ESL tutoring program, because there are many newcomers in the Regent Park area. This way, People who are connected, the adults connected to the program, can also receive English as a second language support. Thank you, and I'll pass it back to Tammy, who will talk about her program.
Thanks, Maureen. So the programs I support are adult focused and English speaking. As Lina had mentioned in my introduction, 3 of the programs are funded through the Ministry of Labor, Training and Skills Development, and they're called Literacy and Basic Skills Programs, or LBS is the acronym that you might hear me say throughout this presentation. Adults who are registered in the LBS program are typically connected to one of 5 goal paths. Secondary school, meaning they want to build their skills to go back to an adult high school and get their high school diploma or additional high school credits, or they may want to complete their high school equivalency, which is called the General Education Development Certificate, or GED, as you may have heard. Some individuals want to go into post-secondary. They may want to prepare for some of the writing exercises needed to become a mature student, or just prepare for being in a post-secondary setting. And then we have other adults who are interested in employment. Sometimes they are unemployed and they're wanting to build their skills to gain employment, but in many cases they're simply underemployed and wanting to build their skills to move up the employment ladder, whether it be in another company or within their existing organization, because they're perhaps at jeopardy of losing employment because they lack the skills. With the shift to online, if they lack the computer skills, they may also feel a jeopardy for that. And so we have a basic computer skills program that we've been conducting for about 2 years that supports developing some basic computer skills, particularly for those we found who are employed but are finding that they're not able to contribute in their workplace the way they'd like to. And so they're wanting to build their computer skills to be more proficient within the workplace. We also have adults who are seeking apprenticeship, and they are coming to build their skills so that they can then apply, once again, likely to a high school to get a high school credit, or to prepare themselves for some of the entrance requirements for a local union. And then the sort of catch-all category of goals is independence. And now those are adults who are wanting to build their skills for their own reason. Typical example we have is an adult parent who has children who are bringing home material from school, and they don't feel confident or able to review and understand the content, the information that's being sent home in their child's school bag. And so they want to build their skills that way they can understand what's being sent home with their child, advocate for their child, have conversations with the teaching staff about their child's progress. Individuals in our program vary in terms of the length of time that they may stay with us. Our program is not a school year program. It runs on what we call continuous intake. And so people come in at any time throughout the year, and they spend as much time as they need to build their skills. Unlike your traditional education system where you can complete a grade level in 1 year of full-time studies, it's not quite the same way with literacy and basic skills. With our adults, they have lives outside of their time with us. And so they're often coming for a few hours a week in and around childcare, parental care, employment, housing, and other life issues. And so their time with us varies, and it could be a few months to a few years. And even in that case, it really is to build them up to about a level 3 for specific tasks, and not necessarily an education level. And so within the LBS program, we focus on the ability to complete tasks and not that sort of wide swath education that you'd see in a traditional school system. So somebody may come in because they want to build their math skills because they're connecting it to their apprenticeship journey. And so we really focus on math skills to go to apprenticeship as opposed to math skills in general, although there is some overlap in how those two concepts relate. The 4th program that I support is, so I'll quickly say, within the LBS programs, there are 3 program types that I support. There's the Independent Studies program, which is for adults who have intellectual disabilities. And those are adults who generally we would say have mild intellectual disabilities, and they're wanting to become more independent. We've had many adults in that program who were able to learn how to navigate the subway system when more people were using the subway, doing that independently, and or being able to do their groceries on their own and understand the math so that they're getting back the right change. We have our program for young adults called Beat the Street, and that's for youth who are between the ages of 19 and 29. Youth in that program sometimes have been in contact with the justice system. They may have been couch surfing, they may have experienced homelessness or other street involvement. And mental health has often been a challenge with our young adult population. And so developing community partnerships for referral opportunities is a big part of how that work is delivered. And then in our Scarborough location, we work with everyone who wants to build their literacy skills. The fourth program is the construction trades program. It's a program called Hammerheads, and it's an intensive 10-week program where the participants come from under-resourced communities across the city of Toronto. They visit trade sites in the day, so they're exposed to different trade opportunities, and then they come to us for at least 2 evenings per week, sometimes a bit more frequently depending on the week, to receive one-to-one or small group tutoring for specific high school subjects. Generally, it's grade 12 math, physics, English, sometimes they have business management, or individuals who are wanting to get their GED because they're missing so many high school credits that their time with us would not allow for them to complete high school, but the GED equivalency would suffice. Typically, and I'm sorry, I have messages going off. I hope you're not hearing all that in the background. Typically, the programs are done one-to-one or in small group for LBS and the Hammerheads program. And right now, everything is completely online. So we are 100% remote. We do anticipate that when we when we move to whatever normal will be, we will have a version of hybrid programs that will include online for those where it makes sense, but also in person for those where there's a need for that. Although we've had much success with online programming, there are many individuals out there who are better suited for face-to-face programming because of their learning needs and just the type of interaction that they would be able to receive in a face-to-face environment. So now those are my programs. And now Maureen will speak a bit more about the ways in which we measure impact.
Thank you, Tammy. Yeah, so I'm going to talk first of all about children, youth learners, and then adult learners and how we measure the impact of our program. So over the last 10 years or so, we've conducted formal program evaluation, and we asked the people who participate in our program, as well as in the case of children and youth, their tutors, their volunteer tutors, parents, teachers, and our community partners, because we want to get a sense of the overall perspective on the impact. And what we consistently see is that over 90% of children are improving their reading, writing, and math skills. And a few years ago, we actually did analysis around report cards. We also found that report card marks were improving, and that generally the children in our programs were moving from more of a C level to B level, so definitely getting more out of school. So we also ask, are they more engaged? Are they answering questions? Are they doing more work? Are they that sort of thing? We are finding that about, almost a third are actually more engaged in class, in school, after attending the program. So one thing we wanted to do is, once the pandemic started, we'd basically been 99% in-person programming, and then we did a big pivot to 99% online, but we wanted to make sure that our online programming had a similar impact to the in-person. So we have an external group that we work with called Cathexis Consulting Incorporated, and they compared our in-person results pre-COVID to what we had online, and they actually found that the results were similar, that the impact was similar to the programs, and in fact with the online, that the students had gained more confidence and were completing more schoolwork. So that we were very happy to see that. And as part of the research evaluation, we also look at external resources, and the current research is definitely showing that that there is a big impact of COVID, especially on the people we serve who are generally from more low income and newcomer communities and maybe have less access to educational resources. So, they might expect up to 3% lower incomes over their entire lifetime, and this could yield, 1.5% lower annual GDP for the remainder of the century. So it definitely will have an impact not only now, but in the future. And what research has also shown is that the type of programs we run, the one-to-one and the small group tutoring programs, are key to helping the children and youth we serve to overcome these learning losses they've experienced through COVID. This sort of equals the playing field, as many, I mean, all students were impacted by the school disruptions, and you know, students in other areas will have access to tutoring and additional support. So tutoring can be really key to making this difference. Next slide, please, Tammy. Yeah, in terms of the adult side of things, so similarly, we find, you know, over 95% improving their skills, which we're really happy to see. We ask the adults for their feedback, as well as the volunteers who work with them and community partners as well. And similarly, about a third are saying they're more engaged in learning. So it's not just improving the skills, they're more engaged in learning. And that can carry forward after they end the program. In terms of COVID, I think there's been a lot of information about this, but it's no surprise that people who are already struggling before the pandemic have been affected the most by the unemployment, unstable employment, lower wages. Many of these are on the front line, so they're at a higher risk of contracting COVID. And this actually is also the parents of the children and youth we serve, that all of these factors are impacting the children and youth as well. And so this survey was done by Leigh and Murray before the pandemic, but they did say that identifying that increasing the literacy skills has a huge impact on the GDP of Canada. So, for example, just by 1% improving the overall workforce leads to a 3% increase in GDP every year and a 5% increase in productivity. And what research has also shown is that it's where the lower literacy skills, so as Tammy mentioned, you know, moving those who are at like the 0 to 1 level up to a 2 or 3 has the most impact, because those are the most vulnerable to changes in the economy, in employment, that sort of thing. Tammy, next slide, which I think is our last one. Yeah, so we just want to say, yeah, that Toronto College, that we do build the skills of individuals with low literacy. The key to sustaining this impact is to ensure that programs are longstanding and well respected. So as I mentioned, the Regent Park Community Health Center, this has been a longstanding partnership, and that way we've been able to work together, respond to changes in the community, changes in the education system, changes in the population, and that's really key. Thanks again for inviting us here today to share the work that Toronto College does. And if you want to become involved, you can become a volunteer tutor, make a donation, or just help spread the word about what we do. So yeah, let me know if there are any questions.
I've got a question. When I was in university about 150 years ago, there was a program from Frontier College that sent undergrads for summer jobs up to hydro camps and railway camps to teach literacy. Is that program still going on?
I'll take that question. So we, yes, it is in various forms. So before the pandemic, we would have outreach workers who would work directly with seasonal agricultural farm workers, so mainly in the Leamington area and Norfolk, which is north of Lake Simcoe. And so these are individuals who come from mostly from Central and South America and who are living at the farms. And so we would help them with their literacy and language skills. And then some of our programs in the far north also have that model where it's working directly with people. Tammy, did you have anything to add to that? Oh, you're muted.
Tammy, you're muted. Um, I have another question if Tammy. Oh, there we
Sorry,
go.
my mouse is dying and I couldn't get it to move properly. My apologies. I just wanted to add, one of the things that we are cognizant of is the movement of people from southern regions to the north, and being sensitive of the populations that are there. And so although we do have programs like that, we do try and, where we can, build capacity within the communities to deliver services, and only have people from outside of the community go up and deliver programs, so that we're not reinforcing any negative models of you know, colonization. And, well, I don't know if there's any positive models, but we're not reinforcing any negativity that the communities have experienced.
Taki?
I have a question. What percentage of your funds supports the administration of Frontier College?
Want me to take that, Maureen?
Sorry, yes, go. Do you want to take that?
Sure, it depends on the funder. And so some funders specify, generally it's 10 to 15% of the revenue would go to contributing to the administrative costs of a project. Sometimes admin costs are not included in the funding. So it really depends on if there's any specification around that. And then we also have a foundation revenue stream in the organization that supports the administration that we're not able to fund through general revenue streams, if that makes sense.
No, what I really want to know is, of the total funds collected,
Mhm.
what percentage approximately goes toward administration? Is it 10, 15, 25? The reason I asked it, I was just reading the other day about how much United Way funds go to administration of the organization, and it was really shockingly high to me. So
Hmm.
I just wondered about Frontier Canada.
Overall, we're only able to take 10 to 15% from any project. And so I'd say in terms of our overall revenue, it's probably going to fall within that 10 to 15%.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to add to that Imagine Canada, which is an umbrella group for all nonprofits across Canada. So they have a certification. Actually, on the last slide, we had our certification. And so in order to achieve the certification from Imagine Canada, they look at all aspects of our operation. So they'll look at our finances, our governance, our program delivery, impact, efficiency, that human resources, that sort of thing. And so, yeah, so that's a regular process that we go through. And we actually were one of the first to be accredited by Imagine Canada.
Somewhat related to that, how do you, I don't know if recruit is the right word, but how do students find you? Do you find that there's more students than you guys can onboard, or is it a pro, you know, do you have to sort of get out there in the community to spread the word, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Tammy, do you want me to start with children and youth, and then you can? So on the children and youth side, we, as mentioned, we mainly work through our partners. So for example, as I gave the example, the Regent Park Community Health Center, they're located in the community. They have direct connections with the families. And so they can, you know, tell the families, oh, there's this homework club or this reading circle that your child might be interested in. And so often they'll manage the recruitment. That has changed a little bit, not so much in Toronto, but in some other locations where we've had to do more direct recruitment ourselves using social media, where our partners maybe weren't able to do the switch to online, so then we had to be more independent. But yeah, in terms of a waiting list, in certain locations for sure there is a waiting list, and I'd say like in general with the pandemic, the need has definitely increased, and that a lot of parents and children are very concerned about their skills. And I've heard like high school students, you know, math is a real issue. A lot of them are failing math a lot more than normal.
And I'll say on the adult side of things, People are not beating down our doors, although we would like that to be the case. However, the programs that have high levels of interest tend to be our focused, what we call boutique programs. So our basic computer skills program, our math / geometry focused programs are in high demand because they are connected to specific outcomes that or those adults are looking for. And so when we have those targeted programs, we do have a higher demand, but we don't have the same type of demand for adults simply wanting to develop their skills, in part because there's definitely a level of stigma attached to people self-identifying as someone who may need skill development. When you're in the school system, it may be a little bit easier because your teacher can recommend it, or you're just going to an after-school program. As an adult, it's a bit different because you're not forced to be there. You have to choose to be there, and you need to come to a point of understanding where you're going to make that investment of time. And sometimes, even with the best intentions, as an adult, you generally have other responsibilities, and so it's sometimes harder for them to maintain the consistency within their attendance. And they may lack the resources to do so. Because of the nature of being online, it adds a different layer of complexity, in that if they don't have good self-management skills in terms of structure and routine, it's a bit harder going online. We found that even if they lack those skills in person, the fact that you had to get on the bus and go somewhere created a bit more of an accountability mechanism than simply having to log into a computer. So it works when it works, but there are certainly some individuals where it's not online doesn't work the best for them. And what we've done to try and appeal to the adults who need the support but may not recognize it is try and connect it to the adult learning principles. And so some of the economic outcomes that they may benefit from, connecting it to things around schooling and education connected to their children. And we found that when we market the program in that way, people are more likely to want to participate because it's not necessarily, it doesn't seem like a direct reflection on them in the same way. It's connected to something greater than just, I don't have these skills, if that makes sense.
Great.
Now, I have a question here concerning certain number of your students have learning disabilities or mental health problems, especially in the Beat the Street 19 to 29 age group. Do you actually partner with mental health community or government-based service organizations, which would involve the support of doctors and other healthcare people? And how do you cost that out? I mean, are there any subsidies in place that support your program that you don't have to fund directly?
So there's no money attached to it. Our programs are free, and any partnerships that we establish are free referral partnerships. We work with CAMH, and so I've been nurturing a relationship with CAMH where they can refer some of their individuals to us. We also work with CMHA, and we work with some youth providers who focus specifically on mental health challenges. And the way we partner is it's having a consent form signed so that we're able to share information about the individual between the partners. And if we're observing something, we're able to say to the referring partner, this person hasn't been attending class, or they're just, there are certain behaviors that they're demonstrating. Can you check in with them? And so we work to maybe not resolve, but to manage the mental health challenges through collaborative relationships. But there isn't any money allocated to us from our funder for that. And there isn't any monies attached to the individual. It's just the two services working collaboratively to support this person in complementary ways. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, I'd very much like to thank both Tammy and Maureen for talking to us, for talking to us today. It was really interesting to hear sort of how your program actually functions. What stood out to me personally was some of the stuff you'd mentioned about, I think it was Tammy, about teaching styles, and it's not always obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, my reading was really poor for a long part of my childhood. Fortunately, there were enough resources that were able to help me overcome that struggle and sort of leverage some of the other strengths I'd been picking up while making up for some of my weaker reading early on. But not everyone's so fortunate, so it's great that you guys are out there. And you know, it'd be nice if you know, everyone who's struggling would come out and reach you guys. But good to know that you're doing some marketing on that front as well. And thank you very much for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you for having us.
Very much. Have a
So,
good day.
Take care. Happy holidays, everyone, and enjoy your event this weekend.
yeah.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Maureen.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye. You're welcome to stay. You can, yeah. If you want to log out, you can log out. You're welcome to stay if you'd like. Yeah, we know you're busy. Thanks. Well, I skipped the reflection. I was caught a little off guard. I had to do some substitute duties on Sergeant of Arms. But Dawn, do you have a reflection for us?
I do have a reflection here. I noticed you skipped that. It's thoughts from Maya Angelou. We are the sum of everything we have ever seen, heard, eaten, smelled, been told, or forgot. It's all there. Everything influences each of us, and because of that, we need to make sure that our experiences are all positive. That's it.
Thank you. Well, with that, Mike, is Mike there for
Happy
president
Bucks,
announcements?
Happy Bucks?
Well, yeah, we can do happy bucks first.
Let's
Does
do
anybody
happy
have any happy bucks?
I'll start with a $10 happy buck just for coming back safely from San Diego.
Excellent.
I'll do
Come on,
10
man.
bucks too. Since Mike got home safely, I got home safely before him. And I got a free COVID test. So I didn't have to pay for it, Neelam, based on what you had said to me. I went to CVS and got it done there for free.
I hope you guys had fun and it wasn't just safe that you're happy about.
Oh, that's a given.
I'll chip in 10 bucks. I had my hip repaired last Friday and moving around quite well. The only thing is I'm stuck. I need a driver from time to time, so my wife has to step in and help out with that. But other than that, everything's going well.
So 10 happy bucks because your wife's driving you around everywhere.
No, well, whatever. I need it.
Okay. Anyone else or?
Well, I'll put in 10 happy bucks. I'm working on a contract which they wanted us to be in Lesotho, and we managed to argue that we'll do it virtually. So I'm really glad that we did not go there. Or would have been stuck with the rest of the crew in South Africa.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Great. Okay, Mike, now's your time.
I don't have much to announce, just a reminder that this is our last meeting on Zoom for the year. And next week is our holiday lunch, and that'll be our last meeting of the year. Just a reminder that tickets are still on sale. They'll be on sale till Friday. I know a few of you have said you're coming, but I haven't seen you purchase a ticket yet. So don't forget and get in there and get your ticket. We have close to 50 people now attending, so it should be a good group. And of course, we know we're going to get treated well by Rosedale. Rosedale's asked me to remind everyone that you must show proof of vaccination. That's standard fare for anyone who's gone to a restaurant. You know that you have to show your IDs, proving that you're vaccinated. They've also asked that everybody wear a mask unless seated for eating. And we will have a cash bar at the beginning, as we normally do, but we're not permitted to stand as a group. So there'll be tables and chairs. And Rosedale's asked us to, if you purchase a drink, if you arrive before lunch, to be seated and when you have your drink. So there'll be people there to remind you, I'm sure, once you get there as well. So anyway, it should be good. It should be a nice dinner, a nice lunch, sorry. And I look forward to seeing everyone in person.
Mike, do we know what the menu is this year and whether wine is included?
I don't know if wine is included, Stephen. I'd have to look at the menu, but the lunch is, John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a Cornish game hen.
Similar to what it was in previous years.
Yeah, similar to what it was in previous years. Yeah.
No wine included.
It's been over 2 years, so we thought that was the most neutral thing we could pick without.
We do have vegetarian meals set aside if people want them.
Yes, yeah.
If you let me know, it'll make it a bit easier because I can tell.
Well, when you sign up, there is a question that asks if you have food allergies or require a vegetarian meal. I don't think anyone has asked for one yet, but it is available. But we do need to know in advance. The Rosedale needs to know on Saturday exactly how many people are coming and any special requests. So if you forgot to put in you have a vegetarian request, just send me an email. Let me know, and I'll make sure that you get the meal you want. And
Mike?
that's it for now.
Mike, are you publishing the attendance list on the website at all, or? Interesting to see what
Well,
the
we haven't got that far yet, Lionel. But I can do that.
Nice to know, yeah.
Ron, you're on mute.
Ron, you're muted. I don't hear you.
What time, Mike, are we expected to arrive at the Rosedale Club?
The doors open at 11:30.
What time will we be sitting down? About 12:30?
12:15, I believe. Yeah, it's the same. We're following similar agenda to our meeting.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Mike.
questions? Yeah.
Unless there are any other questions. Thank you,
Okay.
Mike.
All right.
Yeah, Mike, there'll be prearranged tables as before, I guess.
We've never had, the only prearranged table we have, Lionel, is the head table just for the speakers so they're close to the microphone, but we've never had name cards on the tables. It's just run and get the table you want.
Free for all.
Free for all.
Just don't push somewhere else.
Do we need to bring the tickets?
No, we'll have a master list. You don't need to bring the tickets. If you're on the list, if you have a ticket, you're on the list. No worries.
Very good.
All right.
Are you providing a second mortgage for anybody who wants to purchase a drink?
Sorry,
We
Steve.
didn't hear that.
No,
You
I
cut out
can't
for
hear
a
you,
sec.
Stephen. You're too far from.
No, I said, Mike, are you providing a second mortgage for anybody who wants to purchase a drink?
We'll have to talk to John about the prices there.
Bring a flask. Don't actually. Okay, Mike, thank you very
All right,
much.
Thank you.
Don, the community service, I think it's your week, and then we've got David with some fundraising.
Right. So let's start off with report first. So Fred Victor home starter kits, we delivered kit number 20 week before last. And we're working on one for January now. So if anybody has anything, I could come and pick it up. Sandwich Sisters, we have continued that. And so for the month of November, 436 sandwiches we delivered. 20 dozen cookies, 24 dozen baked goods, 23 bags of apples and oranges, and 220 juice boxes. Churches on the Hill Food Bank, we've sent out the $2,500 to them for this year. Out of the Cold, we've heard from them in the last few days. They're still getting very organized. In terms of our commitment at this point, there only seem to be 2 or 3 of our members that are on the list. So we'll keep you posted, but at this point, until January, it's not a very big commitment for us. So
Can I interject, Don?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so basically, I guess there's been all kinds of mixed messages with the Out of the Cold. And effectively, we have one commitment before the end of the year, and that's December 22nd.
Right.
And effectively, there's 2 of us that are committed, And I think I'm going to talk to one or two more people, but we're going to be outdoors for January 22nd. Food is
December
being,
22nd.
sorry, December 22nd, yes. Food is being served from a food truck. And there is a possibility we might be going indoors after the new year. So, but everything is in flux, everything is changeable. And, Don and I are getting updates every other day, and it's a little bit chaotic. But yes, again, we have one commitment at this point towards the end of the year on the 22nd. So I'll be in touch with a few people that I've got on the very short list that we have right now. And also somebody sent me a thing about volunteers, student volunteers and such. Apparently there are some students from Bishop Strachan College that are committed, but at this point we cannot use any student volunteers. Again, we're very limited to how many people we can have there. And again, that might change early in the new year.
Be about another 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good, thank you, Walter. He's got his thumb on this one for sure. Blood donors, we've reached a goal of 8 out of 10 blood donations for this year. So if anybody has an ability to go, they're short about 3,000 donations in the downtown clinic. So they sent me an email and asked if we could top up our last two, if any of you feel so inclined.
Don, I'm going on the 21st.
Excellent. That's gives the 9 out of 10. You're our major donor, David. Thank you.
Okay.
So for December the 15th, for the luncheon, the Community Service Committee is trying to have a warm hats and gloves drive for the Fred Victor shelter at Queen and Jarvis that we're going to deliver to them in the first week of January. So we're predominantly looking for hats, gloves, mittens, scarves, long underwear, socks, thermal socks, or anything that you can put in. They say it's going to be a bad winter this year, and those people don't tend to do their laundry, so they're constantly being given new things. So they go through a lot of them. This is a constant need from the shelters. So that shelter houses a lot of people, men and women. So anything that you can send us, new preferably, but even in good condition would be fine as well. So if everybody can bring at least one item to the luncheon, I'll have a box there for everybody to put it in, and we'll take care of it. Okay, so I really would appreciate it if people could do that. I'll send out that flyer again on Monday. Okay.
I'll send out an email, Don, to remind everyone as well.
Yeah.
Through
Yeah.
the list.
Okay. That's it. Any
Don,
questions?
I just want to thank you for organizing the hygiene kits at their last Rotary After Hours.
Oh, darn it!
That went off with military precision.
Yeah.
I've got that. I've got that note here. Yeah. And so we organized 50 hygiene kits, and thanks to everybody who worked so hard on that. And because I'm delayed a week, I'm out of the sync there. But I just wanted to add that the next day we delivered to the Fred Victor Mission Shelter 110 pairs of socks, men's and women's. We delivered 48 pairs of underwear, men's and women's. So we did the hygiene kits on the Thursday. We packed them Wednesday night. Thanks everybody who did that. Was done so quickly and almost correctly too. I think we only had 5 leftover items, so that was excellent. And then we delivered the socks and underwear just still in their bags because they'll distribute them, a pair at a time kind of thing. So yeah, we did on the Thursday, we delivered the hygiene kits, on the Friday, we delivered the socks and underwear. And if anybody wants to know, Giant Tiger is a great place to go to for cheap thermal socks and underwear. I think I got the socks were about $1.50 a pair, and they're thermal socks, they're good socks. So men's and women's. So if anybody wants to kick in some for the holiday drive, I'd appreciate it.
That
Okay.
price explains my partner will no longer down my socks.
There you go. Get new ones. Get new ones. Yeah,
Thanks,
Okay.
Don.
that's it.
David,
Yeah, I assume there's gonna be lots of questions about the Tree of Remembrance. It starts on Saturday. I will be sending out an email to all the volunteers that have signed up, probably tomorrow afternoon sometime. It will give you your schedules that you've been confirmed for your shifts. It'll also give you instructions on if you're walking, driving, subwaying, basically how to park, walk, come from the subway to get to the table. Or to the booth. We are located on the mezzanine level, the same level that the Indigo and Urban Behavior are. So if you're coming from the young entrance, we're on that upper level. It's not the top level where the movie theater is, it's the one in between that.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see us. So everyone can see behind me, here's the sign that's gonna be hanging. It's double-sided, so we'll be able to be seen from above and below. We also have a fabulous sandwich board. My whole room, well, you can't see it anyway. There's a fabulous sandwich board the committee has seen. It's gonna be great. We also have a table card that's gonna have a QR code that people will be able to scan to learn more about the club. We're also gonna have a callback box for people to drop their business cards in. So it is going to be a fairly robust event. We are loading in Saturday morning and our first shift starts at 9:30. I think that's when it starts. We are still light on some days. So if you do have not volunteered yet, please reach out so we can fill those extra shifts, specifically the Wednesday morning prior to the event, to the holiday party. Again, we're looking for 2-hour shifts. So if you're coming into town or you have some time, it's probably not even a 10-minute drive from the Rosedale Golf and Country Club. So anyway, if you can make that shift, that's a really important shift for us. If you have any questions, it should be in the volunteer form. But I will be there on the Saturday morning. But if you do read it over and you have any questions, please reach out to me and I can help you with that. And I think that's it. So we're going to be there to help raise money and promote Rotary Toronto Eglinton. The other thing I just finished off on this as well, in regards to promoting Rotary, we are going to be, if everyone's been in that mall, there are digital signs all over the place in that mall. I have created all of the media that's required for that. And I just sent it off this morning and they're going to upload that. So starting on Saturday, Rotary Toronto Eglinton is going to be promoted with the Tree of Remembrance. It's also on the Toronto or the Young Eglinton Center's events page. If you go on to the Young Eglinton Center, it's promoting this. So I think we've got promotions going on all over the place in regards to Rotary Toronto Eglinton. We just need to be able to talk it up. Lois has provided me with elevator speeches for people to use when they're talking to people who are interested in Rotary. So that'll be there for you as well. I think we've got everything else, but if there's anything I've missed, just let me know in the when you get the handout that's coming tomorrow.
How's the tree looking?
I haven't opened the box up, Stephen, because I don't want to open it up, but it's a big tree. It's 9 feet in height.
Okay.
David,
Yes.
donations. Are we just going to expect that people will pay coin or cash? Like, what if somebody has a 20? Should we be prepared to make change or anything like that?
No. So my assumption is no, because the boxes that we're going to have are going to be slotted boxes to
Okay.
remove the opportunity for more contact.
Okay.
The other thing I'm going to test on Saturday morning while I'm there is we do have the square card, the square
yes.
piece.
Mhm.
The problem I have with this, unless there's somebody who's at the table who has the Square app, we really can't take those type of donations. So I would like to be able to get people educated on it. It's not difficult to use, but if people are educated, then we can take credit card and debit card donations as well. So we'll see how Saturday morning goes and how many people are really interested in making a tap donation rather than in cash. But we'll see what happens.
Thank you.
okay, thanks, David. That sounds great. Well, that brings us to Dr. Joe and to see if he has an update for us.
Well, everybody knows that the Omicron variant is making headway in Canada. There's still a lot of unanswered questions about the virus, but so far, most of the authorities are claiming that it seems to be more infectious, more contagious than the Delta, but the indications are now that it is not as severe and probably not going to produce as many deaths. However, the number of cases in Ontario is over 1,000 for the last few days, and this is going to create a problem for hospitalization. Just for your information, a company in Quebec, Medicago, has produced a vaccine for COVID-19 in a plant base. I don't know what the plant is. A lot of plants used for this are tobacco plants, but I'm not sure what Medicago is using. It's a very good way of producing proteins or other biologics, and it's inexpensive, and it looks like this is going to be, the indication so far is that the efficacy of the vaccine produced is as good as it is with the Pfizer or other vaccines. So we'll keep posted, because it looks like Canada is going to have their own vaccine and vaccine production facility. Does have any questions?
Okay, I guess a good update. Thank you, Joe. Well, with that, we look forward to seeing you at the holiday party next week. It'll be great to see everyone in person, and we've already got 50 people, so it sounds like it's going to be a great event. Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.